Hello, I'm the Judge Connoisseur, and today I'll be continuing my breakdown of each group of the Euro 2020 tournament. And today I'll be breaking down Group D, which features Croatia, Czech Republic, England, and Scotland. Now let's begin with Croatia, who come into this tournament off the backs of their excellent performance at the 2018 World Cup. They finished runner-up, and the good news for them is that they have a squad. They have a squad that is comprised of a majority of players who are on that team. The bad news is that they lose a plethora of players who were vital to their success in that tournament, such as Subasic, their goalkeeper, and Mario Mandzukic. And that will definitely hurt them. Not to mention that their performance in the UEFA Nations League in the subsequent years has not offered a lot of optimism as to how they will perform in this tournament. However, I would not never doubt their manager Zlatko Dalic, who's done an excellent job in getting Croatia into top 20 team in the world, and with good reason. As my player to watch out for in this tournament is it could as my player to watch out for in this tournament could be the likes of Luka Modric to Dominik Livakovic or even Dejan Lovren, surprisingly. But no, my player to watch out for Croatia is Josip Brkalo of Wolfsburg, as he's a really good up and coming youngster for Wolfsburg and had an excellent season for them, and looks to potentially play the number 7 role for Croatia and help being a goal scorer threat. And overall, Croatia is faces a opponent in England that they faced off in the semifinal of the World Cup that they are very familiar with, and I think they will get by easily. And I think they'll easily get by in this group. I don't know what they'll do in the knockout stage, but I think that they will end up finishing second in this group. Next up is Czech Republic, and Czech Republic comes into this tournament off a very successful qualifiers, and having qualified for the first time in a long time, they look to prove themselves in this tournament. And particularly, what stood out to me in the qualifying round is how they and ultimately they faced up against England twice, and even beat them in one of their matches. So they're no slouch to begin with, particularly with the likes of Vladimir Kufal and Thomas Suchek of West Ham fame. Those two look to be vitally important players in their cause. Not to mention, my player to watch out for Czech Republic is right back Pavel Kaderabek of Hoffenheim, as he's a prototypical right wing back for them, and I really like how he can get in up into the play and be a great playmaker. Not to mention, they have some youngsters up front who are very good at scoring goals, which might come in handy against a very defensive team in Croatia. And with their goalkeeping being above average with Thomas Vlacek of Sevilla, I think they do have potential to surprise. And while they are at a disadvantage of having to play in London and Glasgow, I think they will find a way. Uh, based on their qualifiers, they really showed promise, and so much so that I think they will end up finishing third in Group D. Next up is England, and England comes into this tournament just looking to redeem themselves after their horrific uh, tournament 5 years ago when they lost out to Iceland. And this is a completely different English team to go at it, and for the best. And the fact that this is a way superior team to even the team that finished in the fourth in the World Cup 3 years ago is a testament to how much the quality has grown in this country. Particularly, my player to watch out for England is Jadon Sancho of Borussia Dortmund, and he is amazing talent for them. And Well, I'd like to see him do a little bit more on the international stage. He absolutely has the right tools ahead of him, playing with the likes of Marcus Rashford and Harry Kane and Mason Mount, and even Raheem Sterling, who hasn't been on the greatest form this season, but is still a great player. And while the loss of Trent Alexander-Arnold will definitely hurt them, their depth at right back is just otherworldly. And whether they want to start Kieran Trippier or Kyle Walker or even Reece James, who's my preferred right back for them, I think they'll easily get by this group and will finish in first place. And while they might easily get through their group, I worry that they might pull in England in the knockout stage and ultimately fall short. And that might be evident when I do my knockout stage predictions in a couple days. Last but not least, for Group D is Scotland, my native home, of which my ancestors derived from, and I'm really hoping for a successful tournament for Scotland. There is a lot of expectations on them. The fact that this is their first international tournament in over 20 years, and it'll be good to see them face off against a mighty foe in England, a rivalry which dates back almost 150 years to the first official football match, which is incredible. And I'm so glad to see those two play, and it'll be such a exhilarating game when they do play. But overall, Scotland comes into this tournament, and they didn't have the greatest qualifiers. It could have gone better, but they really fought hard at the end, and I was really impressed with their performance in the playoffs, particularly against the likes of Serbia, and they was squeaking out a win in penalties against Israel, and they look to have them keep that momentum into the tournament. I would be biased to say this, but my player to watch out for Scotland is Kieran Tierney of Arsenal. And Tierney was just a revelation for Arsenal this season. If not for getting injured, he would have most definitely been my player this season. And wherever he does end up playing for Scotland, particularly he could be playing at center back, I think he'll do the best job he can with what he's provided. And Scotland really has a sneakily good team. I'm the one thing I'm worried about is their defense and their lack of options in goal scoring. They're blessed with some great playmakers. I mean, Andrew Robertson, Ryan Ryan Christie, Ryan Fraser, guys who really know how to pass the ball well. I'm just worried about who will score the goals, and maybe Che Adams will. I mean, he didn't have the greatest season at Southampton, but I think he's definitely an asset that they will count on. And obviously, having the home field crowd in Glasgow will help them a lot. But when you're playing against teams of quality of like the likes of England and Croatia, it will be hard to muster any real attack against these kind of defensive minded teams. And not to mention the fact that their starting goalkeeper situation is uncertain right now, as 36-year-old David Marshall looks to be the starter going into the tournament, and I don't know about that. I don't have a lot of faith in him, as good as he was in the Scottish Premier League. But overall, I'm gonna have to respect my elders and give Scotland fourth place in Group D. And I hope they prove me wrong, but it's just there's not a lot of experience to uh, get. There's not a lot of experience there to be successful in this tournament. So anyway, my final predictions are England in first, Croatia in second, Czech Republic in third, with them qualifying as one of the better third place teams, and Scotland in fourth. Tell me your predictions for Group D in the comments below. And join me next time as I unveil my predictions for Group E, which features Poland, Spain, Slovakia, and Sweden. See you next time.